guess. You think the guy that washed up on the beach wasn't a drowning victim. It's a murder. The killer was hiding under the water with scuba gear. And he grabbed his foot and pulled him under the water. So,
that is quite an imagination you have.
am I right? You came here to tell me that the drowning was a murder?
Do you want to hear this or not?
No.
Ann Winters is convinced this was not an accidental drowning.
Has she called the DA's office?
No, not yet.
Suspect? Motive?
Huh? There have been fights, vandalism to his car, incidents in the past.
And?
And Steve has a brother, Todd, who was recently fired. He threatened Steve. Ann thinks Todd broke into their house last night, and Todd has not been seen since before Steve died. What?
That's it.
Thanks so much for being here. We're so happy to have you back. We had you here around the holidays last year.
That's
for your
right.
Christmas
I was
movie.
promoting a Christmas movie that I did with my daughter, Bella, who's accompanying me again on this trip. She's backstage.
Oh, hey, Bella.
Yeah.
I heard Bella's going to go to college.
Bella's going to college in a couple of weeks.
Is that your first bird?
It's my first
flee?
one going off to college. Yeah.
How do you feel about it?
Well, she's not going that far, so I think that's managing my emotions, keeping them in check. Otherwise, I think I would be a basket case. And I also think I'm slightly in denial about the whole thing. I don't know that it's really hit me.
And is she studying acting?
She wants to be an actress, yes.
That's
so
great.
she's studying acting and other courses too, but yeah.
She was great on the Hallmark. Did you guys see that Hallmark movie during Christmas time with
every
Lori and her
Christmas has
daughter?
a
It was
story.
great.
Yeah.
So you and Hallmark have been making some really great projects. So this one, Garage Sale Mystery. It's going to be a month-long
It's a limited series on Hallmark movies and mysteries, which is different from their main channel, the Hallmark channel. And I originally did Garage Sale Mystery, one movie for the main channel, the Hallmark channel. And when I read the script, I thought my mom would really love this movie. I grew up watching, I'm a television junkie, grew up watching television with my mom. Shows like Columbo, Macmillan and Wife, Murder, She Wrote, and I just knew that my mom would like the script. So that's initially, and I like the script too, but that's initially why I took the part. But I also thought to myself, if it turns out well, it could be a franchise. It read like it could, continue on. So here we are 11 movies later. And Bill Abbott, who's the head of Hallmark, really loves Garage Sale Mystery, and they decided they were going to try to do it. It does very well in the ratings, and they decided they would do a limited series for the month of August. So every Sunday night at 9 o'clock, 8 Central, if you go to Hallmark Movies and Mysteries, you can catch a new movie. We're starting off with The Beach Murders, but a new Garage Sale Mystery movie every Sunday night.
That sounds so fun. And for all those kind of investigative viewers who like these crime sort of series, this is kind of a perfect fit, right?
What I like about this show and what I hear often from fans of the show is that it's a good old-fashioned whodunit. Our writer, Walter Kleinhardt, is really great at weaving, really keeps you guessing and weaving a mystery. But it's not too scary. So what I hear from people quite often is, we love that it's not very graphic. We don't show any horrific images. It feels very much like the kind of television I grew up watching. And so it's a good old-fashioned whodunit, but when you go to sleep at night, you're not going to have any nightmares. And I think also we have a great cast. Sarah Strange, who plays my best friend, Kevin O'Grady, who you all saw in the clip, who plays the detective, my husband, Steve Basic, Eva Bourne, who plays my daughter, Connor Stanhope, who plays my son. I think that we have such a rich, story base because we have the family, we have the best friend, we have the antique store. So we have a lot of stories to tell, not just the murder story. And I think that's also what makes it work.
Is that important for you to sort of find that bond with your co-stars, since it would be a series where you guys are acting?
I feel very lucky. Like, they're all great actors and they're all great people. So at each movie that we've done, we've become closer and closer. And now we have, it's like a secondhand language. It is like doing a series. When you're with people all the time like that, you just understand their rhythms, how they work. They understand how you work. We have a lot of fun. We do a lot of ad-libbing at times. And they're very collaborative, and they're just a great group of people who are really wonderful to spend time with. So I feel very lucky, because you're on a set for many hours a day, and it's a drag if you're on a set with someone who doesn't want to be there or is not in a good mood or what, everybody comes to work with their A game. Kevin O'Grady makes me laugh so hard. He's so funny, the guy that plays the detective. He just keeps me in stitches all day long. Sarah and I just have such just a wonderful, deep connection, and we laugh, and she and I do a lot of ad-libbing in the show, which is fun, and it quite often, most of it ends up in the movie, which is also great. So it's a real collaborative effort.
And you guys shoot up in Vancouver, is that correct?
Yeah, we do shoot up in Vancouver.
Yeah, what's that like to shoot up there?
I've been doing a lot of work. There's a lot of work up in Vancouver right now, much more so than Los Angeles. It seems like I see more people, actors from LA up in Vancouver than I do, in LA. But Vancouver's a great city to shoot in, great crews to work with, great producers up there. They have the infrastructure. They have a lot of production there right now. They give tax incentives. The dollar is strong up there, so there's many reasons people are shooting up in Vancouver. But I've been working quite a bit up there over the last 5 years.
That's really awesome.
Yeah.
And how long did it take to shoot the series that is airing for August? How long were you up there with
So it took us, what we did was we do one movie, which would take 3 weeks. Then we'd take 2 weeks off, do another movie, 3 weeks, take 2 weeks off. Then we took a little more time, like almost a month, came back, did a movie, took another 2 weeks off, and came back and did it. So from January to June, we completed these 4 movies. Yeah.
So what draws you in? What makes you want to go up to Vancouver and shoot? What draws you in with your character, Jennifer Shannon?
Well, I love it's funny. There's some great lines that we put in the show now because obviously it's been 11 movies, and every movie there's a murder. So like Kevin has a line in one of our movies coming up. He says, "I don't know who finds more dead bodies, you or random joggers." It's just, but so it's become a little kind of funny, sort of tongue-in-cheek sometimes because every time I find a dead body, it's sort of like this attitude from the rest of the cast is like, "Oh no, not again! Here we go." And we sort of play into it now. You have to, it's part of the it's part of the entertainment. It's part of the, it's become part of the kind of tongue-in-cheek aspect of the show. What do I love about the character? I love how she is excited, not clearly that somebody's been killed, but every time there's a murder and there's a mystery to solve, she's really so excited. And even when the police are ready to put the case to bed and write it off as something else, she just can't let it go. And she just drives the detective crazy and just keeps coming to him and presenting her case and why she thinks it was a murder. And we have one movie coming up this season, which is a suicide. And of course, Jennifer's convinced that it's not actually a suicide, that it was actually a suicide. It was a suicide murder. It was really a murder made to look like a suicide. So there's just fun in that. Her enthusiasm for solving, crime, I think, is what I really love about the character. And that's one of the things that when I first took on the role, I really wanted to have people want to take a journey with her that was fun, that was exciting, almost like she was at Disneyland. Like that's how enthusiastic she was, because I wanted the audience to feel the same thing. Like, wow, now we're going to go on an adventure. Yeah. So that's what I think I love that about the character. And
so does it always start with a garage sale and she's there and she's picking through items?
Quite often we try to connect something that, whether we're at a garage sale or we're antiquing or whatever, we try to connect it back to a murder. We had one episode that Cheryl Ladd was a guest star in, and it was almost like a crime in the past. I can't, whatever. Anyway, a wedding dress comes into the shop, and I find a bloody handkerchief in the pocket. But the wedding dress is 40 years old, so I find this little hanky in the wedding dress pocket, and I pull it out, and there's a blood stain, and then it becomes forensics, and we go back and try to figure out what happened, and so. That we try to always do something that comes into the store, some piece that then takes us on the journey.
Yeah. What do you relate to more, the garage sale aspect of it or the mystery detective aspect of it?
I like to think of myself as a part-time detective, so I'm going to say the detective part.
Don't go to many garage sales?
I don't go to many garage sales.
Now, you are a part of a Hallmark series as well called When Calls the Heart.
Yes.
So it's coming back for season 5.
Yes.
That's so exciting. Do you guys watch that show? It's really fun.
Yeah, When Calls the Heart. It's on now. That's on the main channel, the Hallmark channel, and we start season 5. We start shooting the end of August, the end of this month, and it should be airing sometime in February. And we will jumpstart the season with a Christmas movie. And last year we did the same thing. They aired the Christmas movie the day after Christmas, and it got great ratings. It was really quite a success. So we're doing it again this year.
That's great. Was it hard for you? You know, everyone knows you as, I'm going to say it, Aunt Becky from Full House. Look at all these people. They're like, it's Aunt Becky in the flesh. Is it hard for you ever to kind of put that role aside and step into other characters? Do you find that fans are always like, Aunt Becky, Aunt Becky?
No, I definitely get recognized a lot for Full House, obviously. And I don't mind. I love it. More and more, though, people are recognizing me from When Calls the Heart and, you know, from Garage Sale Mystery. But I think, you know, Full House has given me a great fan base, and I will always be forever thankful for that. And it's given all of us from the show generations of fans through syndication.
And this September will be 30 years since Full House premiered. That's
30
wild.
years. September 22nd, 30 years
When
ago.
you look back, does it feel like you were just on that set? Or
In some ways it does. And especially when we shoot Fuller House on the same soundstage on the Warner Brothers lot that we shot, you know, 30 years ago. So in some ways when you go there, it's very surreal because you don't feel like you've left. You're in a bit of a time warp. But it's great. We love being together. We have a great time together. And I feel really fortunate that they brought the show back and we're able to work with each other again in that capacity. And now, gosh, so many old shows are being resurrected and coming back. It's fun.
I wish you would bring back Summerland because I love that show.
By the way,
honestly,
if that is one project, if I could wave a wand and bring anything back, it would be Summerland. I love that show so much, and I don't think we got a fair shake.
Me neither.
No, I don't think so. We got caught in the changing of the guard from one network president to another, and the new president came in and decided he was going to wipe the slate clean and start over, and he canned us, and then he almost bankrupted the network, and he got canned. So there we go. But
that's why we got to bring Summerland back.
Yeah.
And you co-created that, right?
I did co-create that, yeah, with Stephen Tolkien.
And that was a young Zac Efron was in that, and it was a great cast. What do you remember
Jesse McCartney,
from?
yeah, Ryan Quanten, it was Jesse McCartney, Zac Efron. It was a really good cast, yeah.
What do you remember from the days on Summerland? And if you could bring it back, where do you think the story would kind of pick up?
Oh my goodness, I don't know where the story would pick up. I guess we could all still be in that beach house. Wouldn't that be nice? But I remember just having, we would shoot also out at the beach, which was so great to be able to. I remember actually standing on set, being at the beach and shooting, thinking, wow, I'm getting paid for this. Like, this is amazing. Like, we were hanging out at the beach all day. But we had fun. Again, a great cast that I had a really good time with. I have to say, in my career, I think I've been very, very lucky. Maybe one show where I don't have the most fond memories that was very brief and nothing other than weird political stuff that went down. But for the most part, really liked the cast and everyone that I was working with. For my entire career, I have always had a good time when I went to work, and I've worked with really nice people, because, you know, what we do, I got into this business to entertain people, so I don't want to go to work and feel, you know, heavy. Now, depending on the role you're playing, that's sometimes you have a role that's dark, and that's a whole other thing. But for the most part, I think I've worked in genres that are a little bit lighter, and I've always had fun when I've gone to work, and really great fun with the other actors.
Yeah, and I found that you kind of stick to television, which is where the great stories are nowadays. A lot of actors are moving
television
to the
has
small screen.
come full circle, because when I first started in television, there was a little bit of a television, film is where the place to be. And the reason I gravitated towards television is I like the fact that you could have a television series and be home. I'm more of a homebody. I wasn't so much a gypsy that wanted to be constantly going from location to location and traveling, and I liked the aspect of being home. Now, cut to all the work has left Los Angeles primarily, and I'm up in Vancouver. It's fine. I love Vancouver, but that's what first attracted me to television. And then, of course, you know, I loved Full House. I love that show. Like, maybe it wasn't the most critically acclaimed show. You know what? I watch old episodes and I think, you know what? We did a good job. It was a fun show. It was funny. It made people happy. I think everyone on it is really talented. But today, television and film and everything, I mean, television kind of is the place to be, you know, and there are so many, and then of course now you have online, right? Everything on, you know, so much content coming online. So I think the great thing for filmmakers and actors and everything now is you have so many ways to get material out there. I look at my own daughter who has a YouTube channel surrounded, she's doing very well. It's Olivia Jade, and she's makeup and beauty, but she has almost 1 million followers now. And it's really incredible to me that young people can have a passion or a talent and they can upload it on YouTube, that they have a place to show off whatever they feel like showing off. I think that's amazing. Amazing.
They always take off. YouTube stars are like more so celebrities of this age.
Oh, by far.
Oh, yeah.
By far. I went to a movie premiere one night with Olivia as her guest. She invited me to go as her guest. And it was a YouTube guy who now his name went out of my head because whatever, I'm old. But I remember getting out of the car with her and there were just hordes of fans behind police barricades, like young kids, and these limos would pull up and these young people would get out and the crowd would go crazy. And I had no idea who anybody was. And I was like, Olivia, who is that? Who is that? Who is that? Oh, Mom, he's a comedian. Oh, he's a YouTube comedian. Oh, he's a singer. Oh, she's makeup and beauty. Oh, this one's fashion. This one's and what I realized is there's a whole world out there where the younger people are really only watching YouTubers. They're not really even tuning into network television anymore. It's fascinating. It really has changed since I started my career.
You're walking down the red
1,000
carpet
years
like,
ago.
hey, I'm Aunt Becky, guys. Look at me.
By the way, they know Aunt Becky. Funny enough, they know Aunt Becky. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, I do want to open it up to some audience questions.
Great.
Oh, hi. First
Hi.
off, thank you for being here. It's nice
Thank
to see
you.
you. You did a movie a number of years ago called Meet My Mom.
Yes, I did.
Involved the military, and it's one of my favorite movies. And I was wondering if you would ever do a sequel, if there were ever plans to do a sequel to that one.
You know what's funny? I don't know. I haven't heard of any plans to do a sequel, but I do know that whenever Hallmark, and it goes by 2 titles. One is Meet My Mom, and then sometimes they air it as a soldier's love story. And Johnny Messner was the other lead actor in that role, in that movie. I know whenever they air it till this day, it gets really, really high ratings. It's a really, really loved movie. It's, in a nutshell, it's a very sweet story about a little boy whose parents have just gotten divorced, and although his dad's a nice guy, his dad's a workaholic and doesn't have a lot of time for him. And the mom is trying to get back on her feet, so she moves in with her own mother, played by Stephanie Powers. And the little boy starts a new school, and when he starts at a new school, the teacher says, you know, we're gonna write letters to our friends in the military who are overseas. And so he writes a letter to this soldier and explaining his situation and that his mom and dad just got divorced and he wants his mom to be happy again, or whatever. And the soldier comes home and he seeks the little boy out. He goes to his house and they form a friendship. And then eventually my character and the soldier, you know, fall in love. And it's a very, very sweet, it's a really sweet story. Yeah. It's one of my favorites too. Thank you for asking about that.
We got to get a sequel made, guys. Hallmark.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi.
You've had a very successful career as an actress. So my question is, how have you learned, what roles have challenged you to become a better actress, and like what roles do you prefer now?
Oh my goodness. You know, it's interesting. Doing Full House for 7 years, I think, challenged me in the sense that while I loved doing the show, we had a larger ensemble cast and I wasn't always featured. So what I did was I joined an acting class on Monday nights, and it was a sort of a scene study class where you had to really dig in and find deep material. And funny enough, I think all those years of being on Full House and doing all that scene study class really helped me kind of deepen my craft. And then I did some TV movies early on in my career, one about a police officer called One of Her Own. That was kind of heavy. The subject matter was rape. which, you know, that was intense. Did another piece called Doing Time on Maple Drive with Jim Carrey and Jim Sicking, and that was also a great, you know, and again, more challenging emotionally. But I like comedy, and I like to make people feel good. And while I might like to watch shows or go see movies that can be deep or dark, for the most part, I like to be entertained. Romantic comedies are my favorite. So I think that's why I gravitate towards those. Even the garage sale mystery movies, even though it's a murder, it's very light, and we try to infuse a lot of comedy into it. Because at the end of the day, I want people to turn the TV on or go to a movie, because this is what I like as a viewer. I want to sit back. I don't want to feel too sad. There's so much going on in the world that, you know, you put the news on and you just, I don't know, it's very disheartening. I want to put on the TV and I want to be entertained. I want to laugh. I want to cry happy tears, and I just want to feel good. And I think for me, that's the kind of entertainment I want to bring to my fans.
Yeah, that's a good mantra. We need some happiness in the world. All right, we have time for one more.
Hi.
Hi.
I knew you as Aunt Becky, just like, you know, growing up in the 90s.
Thank you.
And I thank you for playing such a strong female character in that show, especially with all the men in that family. So on that note of strong female characters, do you watch any other crime shows? And if so, are there any female leads in crime shows that you
Yes, I
kinda
love
take your cue
Mariska
from?
Hargitay. And
doesn't?
She's the best.
that is
Olivia
my
Benson.
favorite. I absolutely love and adore that show, and I think she's phenomenal. And yeah, that would be my favorite. If you're talking about crime shows, that's my favorite.
We all love Law and Order, right?
Oh,
Well,
she's
if you like
so
that,
good.
then Garage Sale Mystery is on the same
there
line,
you
but a
go.
little more humorous. A little more
A
humorous.
little lighter, not as graphic.
So the first one premieres Sunday night, correct?
First one, August 6th, Sunday night, and then every Sunday night, check it out. In August, we will have a new movie for you, and I think if you haven't seen them, I think you really will enjoy them. It doesn't matter if you haven't seen the ones in the past. They're standalone films, and you'll get to know the characters immediately. You'll know exactly who they are and how we interact with each other, and I think you'll really enjoy it.
That's great. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank
We've loved
you.
having
Always
you.
love
Thank you,
coming
guys.
here. Thank you.